Hello and welcome to this presentation about reacting masses. Before we begin, there are a few things that I do expect you to know. You should be able to balance symbol equations. You should be comfortable with working out relative formula mass, and you should also be able to convert between moles, mass, and relative formula mass. But if I ask you a question, what has a balanced equation ever done for me? Well, I'm going to give you an equation, simply the reaction between sodium and chlorine to give sodium chloride. Okay, but this simple equation tells me two key pieces of information. It tells me the formula of each of the parts, therefore I can work out the relative formula mass for each of the parts. So sodium or chlorine or sodium chloride. But it also tells me the ratio that the components will react with each other in. So what can we do? Okay, let's have a look at what we can do with this. So the formula here tells me that if I had two atoms of sodium, it would react with one molecule of chlorine, and it would give me 2 molecules of sodium chloride. But actually, it's also telling me that if I have 2 moles of sodium, it will react with 1 mole of chlorine and give me 2 moles of sodium chloride. Yeah, that's all well and good, but as a chemist, I can't measure out moles particularly. I don't have a measuring cylinder with moles written on the side. So we need to be able to convert this all to something a bit more useful. And I'm going to tabulate this, and I find it easier if it all goes in a table. So in my table, all I do is I write the exact same equation just in my table under reactants and products. What I then do is I'm then going to have different things down the left hand side here. So I've just put relative formula mass there, and I'm going to fill in those cells. So the atomic mass of sodium is 23, the formula mass of chlorine as in the molecule is 71, and of sodium chloride is 58.5. I'm then going to look at the equation and ask, what are the molar ratios of each of these? So is there a number in front of each of these molecules? So yes, there is. So sodium, there is 2. Chlorine, there's a 1, and sodium chloride, there is a 2. And the reacting mass then is how much mass would react in this equation using molar masses. Okay, so for sodium, I've got 2 moles of atomic mass of 23, so I'm going to have 46. For chlorine, it's 1 mole of 71, and for sodium chloride, it's 2 moles at 58.5, so it's 117. So what our equation actually tells us is that 46 grams of sodium will react with 71 grams of chlorine to give 117 grams of sodium chloride. And this ratio is true for any molar quantities. But what if I don't want to react 46 grams of sodium? What if I started with 1 gram? Well, I could, in theory, just divide everything by 46 to get 1. Or if I haven't already done that equation, I'm going to show you another way of doing it. So again, I'm going to start with a table. And this table is exactly the same so far as the start of the previous table. So I've got my equation. I've got my molar ratios and my relative formula mass written down there. Okay, but this time I'm starting with 1 gram of sodium, and I can work out what the number of moles is for that. And the number of moles is the mass divided by the relative formula mass. And in this case, that's 1 divided by 23. So I've got 0.043 moles of sodium reacting here. What I want to then work out is how many moles of chlorine will this react with. And I'm going to use the molar ratio here. Now, if 2 moles of sodium were to react with 1 mole of chlorine, then I have to divide 2 by 2 to get 1. So I then also have to divide my 0.043 by 2 to get the molar ratio that I'm going to react with my chlorine. So here 0.043 divided by 2 is 0.022 moles. So 0.043 moles of sodium will react with 0.022 moles of chlorine. What I can then do is convert my number of moles of chlorine to a mass of chlorine. And the mass is the number of moles times the relative formula mass, which in this case is 0.022 times 71. And that brings out 1.54 grams. I've still got one column left. And now I want to work out how much sodium chloride I'm actually going to make from this reaction. So if I've got 0.043 moles of sodium, because I've got 2 moles of each, the molar ratio is 2 to 2, then actually I'm only going to make 0.043 moles of my sodium chloride. And I can use that now to work out the mass of my product. And again, the mass is moles times the MR. So therefore I get 2.54 grams. So overall, what I've ended up doing is I've worked out that 1 gram of sodium will react with 1.54 grams of chlorine to give me 2.54 grams of sodium chloride. And the only information you started off with is the balanced equation and knowing that you were going to start with 1 gram of sodium. That's brilliant! I'm going to stop the video here, and there will be some other worked examples in other videos, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye.